I'm a little bit late to the Game of Thrones. But here's my review of Season 3, Episode 6, The Climb. So I figured if I'm going to start doing reviews of movies, TV shows, whatnot, then I better start putting some effort into it. Okay, so my general thoughts on this episode were that it was very, very good. And my favorite episode of the entire series so far has been probably episode 4 of this season. One of the things you have to understand about Game of Thrones is it's all about subtext. You don't know what anybody's true motivations are. Except for where we're going to start off with Sam and Gilly. Sam I love because he's just one of the flat out nicest characters on this show. It was just a great little scene between him and this girl that he obviously likes. And, her telling him how to build a fire. Him showing her the obsidian dagger that he found at the Fist of the First Men way back in Season 2. And then, on top of it, we get to hear Sam sing. And then they added a really nice little moment where the baby falls asleep to Sam singing. So that was really cool. A cool way to start off the show. And then we kind of go to Arya and Gendry and the Brotherhood Without Banners. And I love the Brotherhood Without Banners storyline. Last episode with Sandor Clegane. I always get confused with the names, Sandor and Gregor. But the Hound, Sandor Clegane, and Beric Dondarrion. I thought that was the best sword fight in the show's history thus far. Thoros of Myr is a really, really, really well written and acted character. Frickin' Thoros, man. Because he trades Gendry for gold, and yet, he's still nice about it. He's just like, sorry, dude, but we need this to get this, and the only way we can get this is if we give you to them. And it sucks, we know, but I hope you'll forgive. I love that Thoros is such a nice guy, even though he pulls some dick moves from time to time. And it was really cool to see Melisandre show up. A couple episodes back, she and Stannis were talking when she was leaving about how for some ritual, I'm not quite sure what the ritual is, but for some ritual, she needs a king's blood. And she says, there are others with your blood. And at that time, I honestly had forgotten that Gendry was King Robert's bastard. So, Melisandre shows up, and at that point, I knew that Gendry was kind of screwed. I'm going off on a tangent, but Joe Dempsey is probably at the top of my list to play Mathon. If Mathon ever gets published, and by getting published, is put into the process of adaptation for film. Just saying, that's all. Done with that. And when they take Gendry, I really, really, really liked Arya's. Arya just does not give a crap who you are. She is a fighter, and she's a fighter, even though she's little right now, and I can't wait to see this character grow as the show progresses into the later seasons. I have a feeling she's going to become a very formidable force. She's already joining the Brotherhood Without Banners, at least joined up with them. I would like to see where she goes, because I honestly haven't had time to read the rest of the books. I've read A Game of Thrones, and I love that book. I haven't had the time to read the rest of the books because of my own writing, my own projects. So it's really cool for me to see how this series is playing out on screen. And I'm hoping that Arya eventually, becomes some kind of an assassin. She seems like the kind of girl who's, she doesn't know if her little brothers are alive or dead. She knows that Robb's out there. She knows that Sansa's still in King's Landing. But she doesn't really have a place in the world. So I want to see her become an assassin. That's just my random thought on Arya. I'm a big fan of constructed languages, and this is one of the reasons I love this show. It's probably the best reason I love this show, because they've done Dothraki, and now they're doing High Valyrian. High Valyrian, I love. I love the sound of the language. There are a lot of Z's, a lot of R's, a lot of trills. I could go into it all day and every day. But I really like the fact that they're giving depth and authenticity to this world by incorporating languages that not even George R. R. Martin invented. George R. R. Martin mentions the languages in passing. That characters are speaking languages, or that he'll mention a word here and there. But what the showrunners have done, and what the people involved in the show have done, is that they've fully fleshed those out, and it really adds some authenticity to the world of Westeros and Essos. Eventually, I hope they go to Sothorios, or is it Sothoros? I know that it's been conflicting in the books, but I hope they go there and we get to see more languages. That's just my personal opinion. Then we have Bran, Rickon, Osha, and Jojen and Mira Reed. These characters are very popular, especially Jojen and Mira. Mira and Osha have a little bit of a back and forth, which I also liked. And then Bran sort of plays middleman and tells them both to shut the hell up. It's all over skin and rabbits too. I don't know. Maybe it's just that chicks don't like each other. Then everything sort of comes to a head when Jojen has... Apparently Jojen is not only able to enter Bran's dreams, he has visions, but they cause seizures when he sleeps. It was really cool to see Mira in that respect, protecting her brother. Because when we first meet them, Jojen says, my sister has the weapons, she protects me. And so you really see that Jojen is actually burdened by his gifts. And I really like that scene, and I am really interested in seeing, Bran's story develop. I know that Bran already has some limited warging ability. I'm hoping to see Jojen teach him and help him refine that skill, because now with Oral and the Wildlings, we know of warging. Now we can get to see Bran acquire that ability. It'll be really cool. We go back to King's Landing, and since this season has started, one of my favorite new characters, aside from Thoros, has been Olenna Redwyne, the Queen of Thorns. She's the old Tyrell woman, and we got to see her and Tywin sort of bash heads, and that was probably the coolest scene in the entire show. I loved it. I really loved that scene. I think that Olenna is as clever as Tywin is, but Tywin is more ruthless, and the fact that they're both calling each other's bluffs, Olenna with Tywin referring to Loras Tyrell's nocturnal adventures, and then Olenna, bringing up the rumors, which we know is fact, but rumors about Jaime and Cersei. Just really, really, really good writing and really good acting and really good exchanges between these two powerhouse characters. Because once Joffrey and Margaery get married, now you're gonna have the Tyrells as a major political force alongside the Lannisters. Because we all know that even though Joffrey is technically a Baratheon, that the Lannisters are really the people behind the throne. I love that. We have, because I have to talk about this now. My other two favorite characters on the show are Varys and Peter Baelish, Littlefinger, and they have some of the best dialogue. These two guys are guys who pride themselves on information. Information is the currency of the realm in Westeros. And, instead of whoever has all the gold makes the rules, whoever has the most information makes the plays. Littlefinger has been making plays left and right and left and right. And Varys has been kind of, been behind the scenes. Varys is the spider, so he's just, he's waiting for the opportune moment to strike. The scene just begins perfectly with Varys talking about the Iron Throne itself, the swords, the 1,000 swords, Balerion the Great, and then you get Baelish going, There aren't 1,000 swords. I've counted. Obviously, this takes place towards the end of the episode, but Baelish, Aidan Gillen knocks it out of the frickin' park in this episode with that speech that he gives, where he's talking about that the only thing that exists is the ladder. The only thing that matters is the climb. That is what chaos is. And it perfectly encapsulates what this show is about. And the underlying subtext. Just because you sit on the Iron Throne does not mean that you have the power. Honestly, I believe that the two people who have the most power in Westeros are Varys and Littlefinger. And that these two guys are central and crucial to the entire game, basically. Joffrey is a little shit, by the way. He's a little fuckface for killing my favorite lady on the show, Roz. Rest in peace to Roz. She was she was my favorite character. Some people hated her. I didn't give a crap because, what can I say, I'm a sucker for redheads. Tyrion, Cersei, and Sansa. Peter Dinklage has the absolute best role on the show. I mean, he's just the best actor on the show. He's the best. I mean, if I had to pick a favorite, it would be Peter Dinklage. And his scenes with Cersei Lannister, with Lena Headey, are top notch. You can't. That's pure Game of Thrones because it's constant mind games. But when he went to go talk to Sansa, I really, 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 really think that he was genuinely heartbroken to have to tell Sansa this horrible news. And it wasn't just that he was heartbroken for Sansa or just for himself. He was also heartbroken for Shae. And, I mean, what are you going to do, right? It sucks, but, she was just hot. Really hot. So I just wanted to mention an RIP to Roz. We go to Riverrun, where you have Robb and Edmure and Brynden Blackfish, negotiating with Walder Frey's sons, I guess. The fact that instead of having Robb take a second wife, which I don't know that if they can do that really in Westeros, if they can take multiple wives, it'd be an interesting thing to explore. But the fact that because Walder Frey, his purpose in life is to marry off all his kids, and he's been trying to marry off one of his daughters to Edmure since he was like 12 or something. I think he mentioned in the show he's 12, and so that negotiation, it could have gone sour because Edmure's a little prick. I just don't like Edmure. He's pompous, a little bit pompous. He's slightly arrogant, and he's not very competent. Brynden Blackfish had one of the best exchanges in the entire show. I think he said, "Maybe you'd like my fist to compel your teeth." I knew that Blackfish meant business, and you just don't mess with a Blackfish. And that was a really good scene as well. I believe it's the Dreadfort that we're at when we come to Theon and that sick bastard Ramsay Snow. Ramsay creeps me the hell out. I mean, just really creeps me the hell out. And we finally get to see who that fucking hornblower was. Back in season 2, Theon, gets really pissed off at the hornblower. We finally figure out who it is. A lot of people were complaining that Ramsay should have been introduced in season 2 so that they could have built up how sick of a person he was and whatnot. But actually, I think I liked this introduction better because basically, and it was because of that one thing that Ramsay said, where at the end of the game he says, you win, but you forgot to ask if I'm a liar. And so it's just, then you kind of see how twisted Ramsay Snow is. He has this messed upness about him, this messed up quality, and he plays it off perfectly. One scene with Jaime, Brienne, and Roose Bolton. Jaime and Brienne's chemistry is has probably built up the most. Is probably the most convincing chemistry on the show, I think, aside from Jon Snow and Ygritte. I'll get to that in a minute. But I just love that little scene, and it's setting up something that I'm hoping I'll enjoy watching. The climbing of the wall, the whole reason for the namesake scene of the episode, essentially, because it literally is the climb up the wall, and it was really well spaced out, really well paced, and when Orell, after that big crack and that big fissure in the avalanche on the wall, and he says, "We gotta cut him loose," and he just cuts the rope off his waist. You see Jon Snow swinging, and then he just finally latches on to the ice. You really saw in that scene how much he cares for Ygritte, and how much he genuinely cares for Ygritte. It could have been a ploy, because like I said, I haven't read the books since Game of Thrones. I've been busy with my own writing, but I love seeing that relationship grow and develop. And then you get the best part of the episode, which is when they get to the top of the wall, and Ygritte looks to the north, and it's all white and barren and desolate, and then she looks south, and everything is green, and yet there is a dark overcast over the land. And while there is sunlight and everything is green, there is this dark overcast. And I think that's really, really great visual foreshadowing that something is about to happen that we may not, that's going to just throw everything down the crapper. And I personally can't wait. Now, from what I understand, they're splitting book 3 between season 3 and season 4. I think that's really a good idea, because with the way that Martin writes, you need to give him the time to finish writing the books. But also, it allows for more of the books to be shown on screen. Now, I know there are going to be changes. I don't know what changes have been made post book 2. But so far, everything in the show that I've seen so far, I've loved. Now, I want to talk about the lack of Dany, lack of Daenerys Targaryen. Here are my thoughts on that. Is that I like Dany's scenes, but her story is such, you need to space them out evenly. There are some episodes where we don't see Tyrion. There are some episodes where we don't see Jaime. But Dany is the fire of A Song of Ice and Fire, I believe. When we do see her scenes, they really have to hit. And they have to hit on the head. And I believe it was the last episode. It was either episode 5 or episode 4 where she gains the Unsullied and trades the dragon, and then, she reveals that she knew what the dude was saying the entire time. She just has Drogon torch his ass. That was really well done. She just goes, Dracarys. Boom! Done. End. Badassery. All that good stuff. So, my closing thoughts. Overall, great episode. Lot of action that I did not expect. I didn't expect the wall climb to be as epic as it was. I actually didn't expect them to actually climb the wall today. I thought there was going to be another obstacle, so it was really cool to see them actually climb the wall. Alright, so those are my thoughts on the climb. Once this season is over with, I'm definitely going to review the previous seasons. I don't know if I'll do them on an episode basis, but I'll definitely be reviewing the entire seasons. And so, but give me your thoughts on the episode in the comments section. Watch the rest of my videos on my channel. Feel free to comment those. Keep up with me on Twitter. Keep up with me on Tumblr. I like to write, so that's probably where I'm going to be most of the time. Guys, it's been fun, and I will talk to you later.